that is viral hepatitis. So as the name suggests, viral hepatitis means it is the infection of the liver by virus. Viral hepatitis, infection of the liver, that is hepatitis by virus. The infection of liver caused by hepatotropic viruses. So most common viruses which cause hepatitis are hepatitis A, hepatitis B, hepatitis C, hepatitis B, hepatitis E, and these are called as hepatotropic viruses. Then other viruses also can cause liver inflammation. These are cytomegalovirus, Epstein-Barr virus, yellow fever. But hepatitis A, B, C, D, and E, these are the most common viruses causing hepatitis. And cytomegalovirus, Epstein-Barr virus, yellow fever, these are rare viruses causing hepatitis. So these are the five main varieties of viruses. Hepatitis A, which is spread mainly by fecal-oral route. Hepatitis B and C, mainly parenteral. Hepatitis B is always associated with superinfection with hepatitis B, not isolated infection. Hepatitis E, again, fecal-oral. That means from contaminated water. Hepatitis A and E from contaminated water, fecal-oral route of transmission. Hepatitis B and C having the same route of transmission, that is parenteral route. And hepatitis B is always a super infection with hepatitis B. See, hepatitis A, B, C, D, and E. So hepatitis A virus, it is a RNA virus with no envelope. Hepatitis B is double-stranded DNA virus having envelope. Hepatitis C is single-stranded RNA virus with envelope. A is again single-stranded RNA. This is also single-stranded RNA. Hepatitis B is double-stranded DNA virus with envelope. This is again with envelope. Hepatitis D is again single-stranded RNA virus with envelope from HBV because it always a superinfection with hepatitis B. Hepatitis E again a single-stranded RNA virus with no envelope. So route of transmission, fecal-oral. Here parenteral means needle pricking. Then sexual and vertical. Vertical means from mother to fetus. Blood transfusion, needle pricking, etc. That is parenteral route of transmission, sexual route of transmission, and vertical means mother to fetus. Hepatitis C is again having the same transmission, route of transmission as hepatitis B. Hepatitis B again parenteral, hepatitis E fecal-oral route. Age affected, hepatitis A is common in children, hepatitis B can occur at any age, hepatitis C commonly in adults, hepatitis D at any age, and hepatitis E in young adults, particularly pregnant female, its prognosis is very poor, are having worse prognosis. Carrier state present only in hepatitis B and hepatitis C. No carrier stage in hepatitis A, E, and D. Incubation period 10 to 15 days, 50 to 180 days, 40 to 120 days, 2 to 12 weeks, 2 to 9 weeks. This is the incubation period of A, B, C, D, and E. Then chronic hepatitis or chronic infection is possible only with hepatitis B and hepatitis C. That means chronic hepatitis and carrier state is commonly seen in hepatitis B and hepatitis C. Specific prophylaxis, vaccine is available for hepatitis A and hepatitis B. Vaccine is available for hepatitis A and hepatitis B. Now we discuss some word about hepatitis A. Hepatitis A is a benign disease, self-limiting disease, responsible for 20-25% of clinical acute hepatitis. Incubation period is 2 to 6 weeks. Common in children. Route of transmission is fecal-oral. The virus shed in stool 2 to 3 weeks before and 1 week after the onset of jaundice. Means the stool material is infective. So viruses shed in stool 2 to 3 weeks before and 1 week after the onset of jaundice. This patient is infective 2 to 3 weeks before and 1 week after the onset of jaundice. Hepatitis A, formerly also known as infectious hepatitis or epidemic jaundice, is an acute infectious disease caused by hepatitis A virus. Epidemics can occur with hepatitis A because of contaminated water. There are non-specific symptoms in hepatitis A like fever, chills, headache, fatigue, weakness, generalized weakness, discomfort, abdominal, nausea, vomiting, and then patient complaining of yellow discoloration of eyes, yellow discoloration of skin, and passing yellow color urine. But the initial complaints are loss of appetite, nausea, vomiting, abdominal discomfort, fatigue, weakness, somnolence, increased sleepiness or excessive sleepiness during daytime. But the disease is benign and complete recovery is possible in several weeks. So fatality rate is low with hepatitis A. Now, what are the positive findings on examination of patient? On general examination, you get icterus, that is yellow discoloration of the sclera, yellow discoloration of skin, nails, that is presence of icterus, yellow tinge of the skin. Per abdomen, liver can be palpable and tender, this enlargement of liver, that means hepatomegaly occurs. So these are the positive findings on general examination and per abdomen examination. Now, how to investigate a case of jaundice? Already we discussed yesterday. Whenever patient presented with jaundice, yellow discoloration, the first test is to do liver function test. So liver function test, you can see the total bilirubin level, direct bilirubin, indirect bilirubin, liver enzymes like HGOT, HEPP, alkaline function. In viral hepatitis, bilirubin level is increased, direct bilirubin level is increased because indirect bilirubin is increasing hemolytic diseases or in hemolytic anemia. Direct bilirubin increasing hepatitis or wherever there is damage to the liver. So in liver function test, you get elevated bilirubin, particularly the direct portion of the bilirubin. Then you also get elevation of HGOT and HGPT because there is damage to the liver. So increase in HGPT and HGOT level also occur. So your first test is to do liver function test. Second is urine examination. In urine, you can see the presence of bile salt, bile pigment, bilirubin, etc. The next investigation is urine for bile salt, bile pigment, bilirubin. And then you have to do the ultrasound of abdomen to know the status of liver, enlargement of liver, damage to the liver. So ultrasound of abdomen is the next radiological investigation. So in blood investigation, two important liver function test, urine examination, and then ultrasound of abdomen. Or to confirm hepatitis A, if you are suspecting the cause of jaundice is hepatitis A, then to confirm this, you have to do the virus isolation from feces because viruses are excreted in feces. So virus isolation from feces or detection of antibody IgG, IgM of hepatitis A. So these are the confirmatory tests: virus isolation and detection of antibody for hepatitis A. Now prevention and treatment for hepatitis A. Prevention is more important always in viral hepatitis rather than treatment because treatment is just supportive, no definitive treatment for any viruses. So prevention is better than treatment. So in prevention that include good hygiene, use of boiling water and vaccination in children. So good hygiene is important, avoiding contaminated water or use boiling water and vaccination. In treatment, treatment is always supportive, no definitive treatment that include bed rest, high carbohydrate diet, low fat diet, and no antiviral drug is available for hepatitis A. So just high carbohydrate diet, multivitamin supplement, and bed rest. This is the treatment for viral hepatitis A. And SOS hospitalization, but hospitalization is rarely required if patient is not able to take orally. Patient is hospitalized only if there is vomiting, nausea, and patient is not able to take orally. Otherwise, no hospitalization is required in hepatitis C. Now we discuss about hepatitis B, very important for healthcare workers, particularly doctors, sisters, all healthcare workers. So hepatitis B is caused by hepatitis B virus, which is a double-stranded DNA virus. The incubation period is 4 to 26 weeks, that is 1 to 4 months. Transmission, parental route of transmission, sexual route of transmission, and vertical transmission. So exposure to the infectious blood or any body fluid of the infected person. If a person is HBs aging positive, that is hepatitis B positive, then exposure to the blood of that patient or any body fluid of that patient. Then sexual contact, blood transfusion, needle pricking, use of contaminated syringes, and vertical transmission, that is mother to fetus. So these are the routes of transmission for hepatitis B and C. Parental route, most common in Drug addicts, health workers are always at increased risk because of accidental needle prick, accidental exposure to blood. Then vertical transmission, if mother is HbSAg positive, then mother to fetus. Hepatitis B can produce acute hepatitis, chronic hepatitis, fulminant hepatitis, or asymptomatic carrier stage because only in hepatitis B and hepatitis C the chronic hepatitis and carrier state is possible. In hepatitis A, it is only acute hepatitis which recovers spontaneously. There is 100% recovery. Rarely fatality rate is occurring. So in hepatitis B, it can produce acute hepatitis, chronic hepatitis, fulminant hepatitis, or asymptomatic carrier state. Or hepatitis B or viral hepatitis, which is caused by hepatitis B, always at risk of hepatocellular carcinoma. So viral hepatitis B and C, they are always at risk of developing hepatocellular carcinoma, or these patients are more prone for developing hepatocellular carcinoma. Hepatitis A, only acute hepatitis, no chronic state, no carrier state. But in hepatitis B, chronic hepatitis, carrier state is possible. As well as fulminant hepatitis can occur, but in any type. Fulminant hepatitis can occur in any type. So this is the hepatitis B virus, double-stranded DNA virus having envelope. See, having three antigens: surface antigen, core antigen, and HBE antigen. Three antigen with antibodies against these three antigen: surface antigen, core antigen, and HBE antigen. Again, symptoms are same in any type of viral hepatitis. In acute hepatitis or in acute stage, symptoms are same: nausea, vomiting, discomfort abdominal, and patient presenting with jaundice. But even with hepatitis B, 90% recovery is there. Only 10% develop chronic hepatitis and less than 1% develop fulminant hepatitis and death. So 90% of patients recover, 10% develop chronic hepatitis and less than 1% develop fulminant hepatic failure and death. So those 10% who develop chronic hepatitis, they are more prone for liver cirrhosis further. These 10% who develop chronic hepatitis are more prone for liver cirrhosis as well as they are more prone for development of hepatocellular carcinoma. Chronic hepatitis always progress to liver cirrhosis with vague symptoms of ill health. So hepatitis B and hepatitis C with chronic hepatitis prone for developing liver cirrhosis or the main cause of liver cirrhosis with vague symptoms of ill health. So ultimately they are leading to liver cirrhosis. That's why they are more dangerous. Who are the high risk group who can catch hepatitis B infection? So people from endemic region, babies of mother with hepatitis B positive, intravenous drug users, that is drug addicts, then hemophiliac patient or hemolytic anemia patient who are requiring repeated blood transfusions. Healthcare personnel always risk at catching this hepatitis B virus infection who have the contact with the blood of positive patient and patients who are immunocompromised. Diagnosis or investigations, again same. First, whenever patient of jaundice comes to you, your basic investigation, liver function test, urine examination, ultrasound. And then which type of viral hepatitis it is. If you are suspecting it is because of viral hepatitis, then which type of viral hepatitis. So either it is A, B, C, D or E. So for hepatitis A, virus isolation and antibody IgG, IgM against hepatitis A. Now here again same, antigen antibody detection. Routinely, we do the detection of surface antigen test, that is called as HbSAg test. Routinely, we do surface antigen test, antigen or antibody detection. Routinely, we do HbSAg test. If it is positive, then we go further for detecting hepatitis B virus DNA by PCR. If this test comes positive, if patient is hepatitis B positive, then we go for HBV DNA by PCR. And invasive investigation is liver biopsy. So detection of antigen antibody for hepatitis B, the specific test is surface antigen. So hepatitis B virus having three antigen, surface antigen also called as or famous, it is called as Australia antigen, which is the famous name, Australia antigen, then core antigen, and then HBE is a envelope antigen. HBE is a envelope antigen, and the corresponding antibodies against this antigen. So see, this HBsAg antigen or surface antigen, also called as Australia antigen, which occur before the onset of symptom, is present in body before the onset of symptom. It appears after 6 weeks of infection. Then it declines in 3 to 6 months. More than 6 months, it is called as carrier state. HBE, soon after HBsAg, HBC, the core antigen, soon after HBsAg, present transiently for 3 to 6 weeks. It is indicator of continued viral replication, but this core antigen cannot be detected. Then HB, this is HBE, that is envelope antigen. Envelope antigen always, presence of this always indicate that patient is in infective stage or patient is always infective if HBE antigen present, that is envelope antigen present. This is core antigen, which cannot be detected in blood. Only these two we can detect. HBsAg, that is surface antigen, and envelope antigen. Now the antibody against this. Antibody against surface antigen appear 3 months after the onset. Antibody against envelope antigen is always suggestive of resolution of infection and patient is not infected. If anti-HBe antibody present, that means it is a good prognostic sign of resolution of infection and patient is not infected. But presence of HBe antigen is not a good sign, patient is in infective stage or patient is infected. And core antigen, which cannot be detected in blood. So 3 antigens and their corresponding antibodies and their significance. Now the treatment is always supportive as we discussed. For viral hepatitis, no different treatment. So treatment is supportive plus for hepatitis B and for hepatitis C, antiviral drugs are available. These antiviral drugs are given just to halt the progression and to prevent the occurrence of cirrhosis of liver. So antiviral drugs are started if viral DNA load is too high, if the DNA copies of hepatitis B virus are high in patient's body, then we start antiviral drugs to prevent the progression of disease, to prevent the occurrence of liver cirrhosis. So the antiviral drugs which are preferred in hepatitis B are lamivudine, adifovir, and interferon. So supportive plus antiviral drugs for hepatitis B and for hepatitis C. So the antiviral drugs are lamivudine, adifovir, and interferon. So the antiviral drugs are started if after testing for DNA copies. So they are started after testing for DNA copies. If DNA load is high, then we start antiviral drugs. And prevention is always important than treatment. For hepatitis B, vaccine is available. So prevention is more important rather than treatment. So everyone should get vaccinated against hepatitis B. So vaccination is pre-exposure. Vaccination is pre-exposure to avoid the occurrence of disease. And immunoglobulin is always given post-exposure. So prevention includes vaccination and immunoglobulin. Vaccination is pre-exposure, immunoglobulin is post-exposure. That is hepatitis B immunoglobulin, which is used in fetus. If mother is positive, then there are chances of catching infection from mother to fetus. So after delivery, immunoglobulin is given to the fetus. That is called as post-exposure prophylaxis. That is called post-exposure prophylaxis. That is the fetus of infected mother. So vaccination is pre-exposure and immunoglobulin is post-exposure. So in prevention, it includes vaccination plus immunoglobulin and universal precaution. You have to take universal precaution for HIV and for SBSAG. You should know what is universal precaution. That is wearing gloves, avoid needle pricking, then avoid contamination of your body. Contamination of your body by any body fluid of the infected person. So avoid contamination of your body, your hand, your face by any body fluid of the positive patient. That is universal precaution. So wearing gloves, wearing mask, and vaccinating yourself, that is important. That means prevention is more important. Taking universal precaution for every patient. Taking universal precaution for every patient is very important. So that is called as universal precaution. Now, hepatitis B vaccine, it is now included in universal immunization program. So hepatitis B is given in children at birth and then along with DPT. Now it is included in universal program of immunization. So it is given at birth along with BCG and then along with DPT. So the immunization schedule is completed in children for hepatitis B. For children, the dose is 0.5 ml intramuscular. So at birth, as soon as possible within 24 hours along with BCG, dose is 0.5 ml, route is intramuscular. It is always given on thigh in case of children. Then the next doses are at 6 weeks, at 10 weeks, and at 14 weeks. That means along with 1.5 month, 2.5 month, 3.5 month. That means along with DPT, the dose is 0.5 ml intramuscular and on the thigh. So that is the schedule for hepatitis B vaccine in children. Hepatitis B vaccine is available as a recombinant vaccine for immunocompetent adults. So in adults, the dose is 20 microgram, that means 1 ml, is administered 016, means first dose, second dose after 1 month, and third dose after 6 months, means total 3 doses, 016. 0 is first dose, second dose after 1 month, third dose after 6 months. So it is given as intramuscular route in deltoid. It is given in deltoid. The dose is 20 microgram is 1 ml. Antibody titer rises 20-30% after first dose, then 80% after second dose, and 90-95% after third dose. Booster dose is routinely not required. Booster dose is required only in immunocompromised person like chronic kidney disease patient who are on dialysis. So the chronic kidney patient, they are requiring high dose, or patient who are immunocompromised, the dose of vaccine is doubled. The dose of vaccine is doubled, as well as the doses are extended. So we have to give 2 ml of dose. Means you have to give 40 microgram, 2 ml of dose at 0, 1, 2, and 6. First dose, second dose, third dose, and fourth dose. Means we have to give 4 doses and double the dose, as well as boosters are also required in chronic kidney patient on dialysis. So immunocompromised patient only require booster doses. Immunocompetent patient never require booster doses. So that is the schedule in adult. This is the schedule in children. This is the schedule in adults. So this completed your viral hepatitis. Only 2 viruses are important for you. So only hepatitis A and hepatitis B are important. No need to study about hepatitis C and hepatitis B and hepatitis E. Hepatitis E also occurring by fecal route from contaminated water, and it is having worse prognosis in pregnant women. But hepatitis E cases are not so common as compared to hepatitis A. And hepatitis C is also not so common as compared to hepatitis B. Viral hepatitis, infection by pathogenic viruses A, B, C, D, and E. Other viruses like cytomegalovirus, Epstein-Barr virus, yellow virus. A, B, C, D, E. Pecoral, parenteral. D is super infection with B, and E is again pecoral. This is hepatitis A, B, C, D, E. Agent, route of transmission, age affected, carrier state, and chronic hepatitis. Common with hepatitis B and C, and development of liver cirrhosis and development of hepatocellular carcinoma is again common in hepatitis B and C. So hepatitis B and C, they are prone for developing liver cirrhosis, prone for developing hepatocellular carcinoma, prone for developing carrier state, prone for developing chronic hepatitis. So they are more dangerous. And they are more dangerous for healthcare workers also because they are at risk of catching this infection. Hepatitis D, self-limiting, fecal route, common in children. Recovery is 100%. Fatal or fulminant hepatitis is very, very rare with hepatitis A. Symptoms are very common or vague symptoms in any type of viral hepatitis. Patient usually presented with yellow discoloration of eyes, yellow discoloration of skin, and yellow discoloration of urine. Then anorexia, nausea, vomiting, abdominal discomfort, low-grade fever, fatigue, weakness, etc. These are the common complaints in any type of viral hepatitis. Important investigation, liver function test, urine examination, ultrasound, and then testing specific virus, that is virus isolation and detection of antibody or detection of antigen. So antigen antibody detection, which confirm the which type of virus. Prevention is always better in viral hepatitis than treatment because there is no definitive treatment. Treatment is always supportive. So good hygiene, avoid contaminated water, use boiling water, and vaccination. Hepatitis B, which is the route of transmission, incubation period 1 to 4 months, caused by hepatitis B virus, parenterosexual and vertical. It can produce acute hepatitis, chronic hepatitis, pulmonary hepatitis, and asymptomatic carrier stage and development of hepatocellular carcinoma. This is the hepatitis B virus with 3 antigen and 3 antibody. It is a double-stranded DNA virus. Symptoms are again same. 90% of the patient of acute hepatitis recover, 10% develop chronic hepatitis, and less than 1% develop fulminant hepatitis and death. And chronic hepatitis progress to liver cirrhosis. These are the high-risk group: healthcare personnel, immunocompromised patient, drug addicts, and babies. Investigation. Specific investigation is surface antigen. Specific investigation include antigen antibody detection, and in which the surface antigen, that is Australia antigen detection. SPSAG test. If it is positive, then we go further for testing HBV DNA by PCR. So the first antigen that occur in blood is surface antigen. HBE antigen, presence of HBE always suggests that patient is infected. Patient is infected. And HBC, that is core antigen, it cannot be detected in blood. Treatment: antiviral drug plus supportive antiviral drug like lamivudine, adipokine, interferon. Prevention: vaccination and immunoglobulin and universal precaution. That is important. Vaccination in children, vaccination in adults. So next time